everyone, it's Kari the Mortician, and I am here in Grand Rapids, Michigan at the Grand Rapids Market. So it is Halloween time, and what is creepier at Halloween time than a mortician, right? Well, at least to some of you. I think y'all think I'm pretty creepy. I don't know, just because I'm around dead people. But so I wanted to put two of my loves together, being a mortician and ice cream. So here at the market, we are at Love's Ice Cream. We're going to be making a Halloween themed ice cream with Kari the Mortician. So Chris McCullough left his job years ago and decided to go to culinary school because he wanted a better version of food for his family and for everyone he was serving. Here at the market, he was teaching some classes and they asked him to make some ice cream. Now, fast forward, we have Love's Ice Cream. He asked the question, if you knew what was in your ice cream, would you really love it as much? And so he wanted to make a better version of ice cream with whole natural foods so you knew what was in your ice cream. And boy, did he hit the spot. I have loved Love's Ice Cream for a while now. And so I'm excited to kind of marry these two loves together. So we're gonna bring you today a Halloween themed ice cream that you, if you live in the Grand Rapids area, can come get over here at Love's Ice Cream. So we have all these flavors, but what will be a Halloween themed ice cream flavor? Can you guess? What would your guess be as to what a Halloween themed ice cream flavor would be? So we're here in the back side of Love Ice Cream in the kitchen area where we're making our ice cream today. Hey everybody, so we're here with Chris and today we're making our Halloween themed ice cream, and I literally know nothing about ice cream except there's like milk and sugar and stuff. So Chris has come up with an idea today for a Halloween ice cream. So what are we making today?
We're gonna make black licorice ice cream that's actually black.
Very cool. And this is you've retired kind of this.
It's more seasonal, but with the whole coronavirus, we've really tapered down what flavors that we make to make it easier on us since we're short-staffed.
So we're bringing back black licorice for a short time for Halloween. So Chris is gonna show us how to make ice cream.
That's right. It's kind of a boring process, so hopefully editing can speed it up and make it more entertaining. But the first thing that we always do is we have to assemble our machine.
Cool. So we're sanitized.
We're sanitized.
Now.
Ready to churn some ice cream.
So when we're making black licorice ice cream, we've got cuttlefish ink, like Squid Ink, guys. That's what makes it black. Would you have guessed?
Squid Ink. Now it does have a flavor on its own that's fairly of the sea, but
of the sea. It smells horrible, guys. I'm not gonna lie.
When you dilute it out into the ice cream mix, and then we add the concentrated anise oil, you don't taste it at all. So today we've already made our base. So we make everything from scratch here to the best of our ability. So we've already made our ice cream mix, or base we call it, in a large 100-gallon vat. And that consists of your cream, your sugar, your egg yolk, and I mean that's the base. It's like a custard, maybe not as rich. Custards generally have a little more egg yolk, but we would consider it like a French ice cream base.
And that's for any of the ice creams that are
pretty much. There's a couple of them that we do from the ground up because the composition requires it.
Okay.
But for the most part, we start out with what we call sweet cream, which is just sweetened cream, thickened a little bit with egg yolk, and then we have that ready to go to make our flavors. So we have 10 quarts of this mix ready to go to make a one-time batch of black licorice today. And this is a pretty simple flavor, but not so common ingredients. As we showed you, cuttlefish or Squid Ink commonly used in Italian pasta making and various other things, but it's a really neat way to get a natural black color into the ice cream without going to a laboratory for the coloring. And then for years we used Anise Extract, which is really just anise oil dispersed in ethanol in water, but we had a lot of problems with the softening. So when you put ethanol or alcohol into ice cream, it makes the texture really soft. And we fought that for a long time, and I didn't like that so soft of a texture. So we went to straight anise oil, which allows us to get a much more concentrated version of the flavor in there without all that alcohol, but it takes a little bit of work to disperse it. So,
what made you think to use Squid Ink? Like, this to me is the most surprising that's being used in it.
Sure. If we use anise oil in the white or kind of off-white ice cream base, it's going to be white. So then we have a flavor called black licorice, or no, you know, it wouldn't sell if we call it anise ice cream, right?
Yeah.
Like, no one's going to buy that.
Yeah.
So we said black licorice. Well, then black licorice being a kind of a white color just didn't quite equate psychologically. So we said, how do we make it black? And really the two options in the natural realm, other than some lab-created natural colorants that are available, was Squid Ink. And I thought, oh, that's cool, let's try it out. Tried it out, worked really well. We also use activated charcoal sometimes, but as I was telling you earlier, the charcoal molecules, you know, people say it will like whiten your teeth and it'll bind to toxins in your body when you eat it. Well, it does bind to molecules, and flavor molecules are some of those. So we found that as you add the activated charcoal, it actually binds to those molecules and you can't taste them anymore because they're tied up. So we generally use that only in the vegan, because Squid Ink, as you may know, is not vegan. So yeah, so the first thing we'll do is we're actually going to disperse the anise oil. I forgot one container here.
Do you guys see how big this mixer is? Like, how cool is this thing?
Okay, so first we're going to take some of our ice cream mix and get it into a smaller container so we can do a little smaller dispersion. What can happen is the anise oil can crystallize if you just kind of pop it in there. So we're going to weigh it out.
So measurement is key. I mean, these aren't just, oh, we'll put a little, we'll put
Correct,
a little.
yeah, this is so strong. Like, you can just get a whiff of it right there.
That's black licorice, all right.
Yep.
Smell.
So we're using a gram scale. And actually that's going to be about perfect. All right. So then I'm going to get the immersion blender. I'm just going to slowly start incorporating that. And yeah, fat content, they all play a role in terms of how much air content it'll hold, what the mouthfeel is, what the shelf life is, all that.
Well, we talked about, you were asking earlier, how does this relate to the funeral business?
Yeah.
And everything you just said, for the most part, you can relate to almost embalming.
Okay.
You know, shelf life even, not to, you know, come on guys, you have a little leniency, but truly, we mix and we use different proportions, and we have to have a water base, and you have to have all these different things in the correct proportions to get that end result. That ours is visual in some texture, but for the most part just visual of what that person's going to look like based on everything we put together.
That's something I would love to learn more about, because that's really fascinating. You know, for us, shelf life is more about texture and flavor.
Yeah. Ours is just longevity.
Flavor's not in your department.
No, but, not even a little.
But I think that's just it could just be. All right, well, anyway, yeah, so Texture, I guess, for us means small ice crystals, creamy, lingering mouth feel, like lingering body, lingering flavor on the palate, and all those things can be influenced by what type of flavoring you use, how you flavor it, you know, how, like I said, how much butter, fat, how much what we call in the dairy world non-fat milk solids, which are milk sugars and you know, the various suite of carbohydrates like sugar, glucose. Well, this technically in the confectionery and ice cream world, sugar is referred to as, or sucrose is referred to as sugar, even though we use glucose, and that's a sugar.
Right.
But they're called sugar and glucose, or sugar and tapioca syrup is what we use.
Okay.
So, yeah, so okay, we got our anise oil in there. Now we're going to, we've already weighed out the squid ink, so we're gonna dump that in. If you want to.
And it does smell, guys.
Smells
I
like,
don't know how it stinks so bad in person, but then when you eat the ice cream, you don't taste that flavoring.
I think that's really helped, you know, our brand as people realize that we are, you know, our mission is we want to inspire others to treat themselves better and others better, and that's of course the dual language of, yeah, we want to eat better, we want to educate about food, we want to have simpler food preparation and better ingredients, but we also just want to be kind to other people.
Yeah.
So through that, we kind of developed ways of addressing dietary needs through our non-dairy ice cream or dairy-free ice cream, as well as we've been rolling out more and more gluten-free baked goods and confections, and lots of nut-free, very, very allergen conscious. And so we like to say we make worthy treats for everybody, treats that, yeah, they're a treat, right? You're not supposed to eat them as a meal, you're not supposed to eat them in excess, but when you crave a little something or you just want to celebrate, we want it to be the best it can be. So that's kind of,
I love it.
yeah,
because it really is. Just side note, if you can't have dairy and you go to an ice cream place and you say, do you have a dairy-free ice cream, and they tell you sorbet, that is not ice cream. It's like going to a bar and asking for a gluten-free beer and they give you a cider, not beer.
It's not beer.
So it's nice to have those options when you do have restrictions.
We have 11 dairy-free flavors that you can get as a scoop every day, and we probably have around over 20 flavors in pints every day. Okay, so the last component, we've got our anise oil in there. And we used to steep toasted anise seed, but you need a lot of concentration of flavor to really
that smell of molasses.
Yes. To really disperse throughout, you need more, and so we ended up going to basically anise oil is distilled, so it's the anise seed that's been distilled.
Gotcha.
And they capture those oils. All right, so we're gonna get, what's my measurement? 50 grams of molasses. Now, molasses is something that in the early formulations of our black licorice I didn't have. I didn't realize that classic black licorice has a molasses component in it. I just didn't realize that. I went to a confectionery school, and when we were going over different things, I learned about that, and I thought, oh my goodness, I'm missing that, and I came back and I added it. Boom, it makes it so much better.
That's awesome. I feel like that was almost too simple.
This is pretty simple, but like I said, ice cream's kind of a, you know, minute by minute, it's kind of a boring process. You know, the base making process takes a good half of a day, maybe 3/4 of a day, and you know, it's kind of slow, and you're doing all sorts of other things while it's cooking.
But you can make, I mean, your one base making makes for many different flavors.
Exactly,
so.
yep. So you do it once, and then you can make a whole slew of flavors. Set a better angle here. every subsequent batch, maybe 10 minutes or so. We drop it down to about somewhere between 18 and 20 degrees Fahrenheit. So it's not quite as cold as what you would get it as a scoop. It's very fluffy and it's kind of like a soft serve type texture. But then we put it into a hardening cabinet, which is a blast freezer essentially to harden the ice cream as quickly as possible. So yeah, we're gonna go with it.
So the ice cream is in the machine and it's churning, and stepped out into a stairwell to just shoot a quick video. Super interesting, the science behind making ice cream. Did you ever know there was that much to it? So really fascinated by how Chris finds natural things to create the colors and the textures and the flavors within the ice cream. So excited to see what the next step is. What I want to show you now next is some of the amazing flavors that Chris and his team make here at Love's Ice Cream, because I think you're going to be surprised by some of the things he puts together, kind of like he was talking about the Lavender Blueberry. There's some other really cool flavors that he puts together.
What has been your biggest flop flavor that you tried making back here and never made it out because you're like, this is just too off the wall or too crazy or something? Or
Yeah, I think, you know, the first thing that comes to mind, we've had a lot of ones that didn't do so hot. I mean, we did salmon jerky flavor one time.
oh,
It was delicious, but as you can imagine, not everybody flocked to it.
that sounds horrible.
We did
in
put
an
it.
ice cream.
We put it out in our dipping cabinet so that people could have it. And it. I mean, we had it out for a week or so, and I said, you know what, this is you're not going anywhere. So, you know, the other one that's more down to earth, I guess, would be a blueberry waffle cone.
Oh.
And I knew going into it that if I didn't have a fat barrier between the ice cream and the waffle cone, that the waffle cone pieces are essentially a cookie,
Right.
would get soggy because of the water migration. And that's exactly what happened. I was just hoping it would take a while, but it
Yeah.
only took a couple of days. And so then you
Oh.
end up with soggy waffle cone bits in your blueberry ice cream. And that's like, some people love the cereal at the end of the bowl. That's super mush, and that's kind of what it was. But in ice cream, I don't think it's everybody's favorite.
Yeah,
So,
it's super chewy when that waffle, like
Yes.
you can imagine.
so when that happened, I said, you know what? We're just gonna cut our losses and pull this thing because it doesn't exemplify who we are, you know, for the standard of excellence we hold ourselves to. So,
What not normal flavor has been such a huge success you could have never foreseen it?
really, lavender blueberry.
That's one of my favorite.
And that one came out of a relationship that developed between us and our neighbor here at the downtown market, a place called Thornburg and Company that makes jams. And the guy who started that company, Ryan, is a great chef, and he had a blueberry preserve with lavender. I tasted it and I thought, oh, that's so lovely. Let's use their product in the ice cream. So that was the first iteration of it
Okay.
as a dairy flavor. And then we reduced red wine and we had that in there. And then I realized these flavors would go really well in the coconut milk base. So that's what we did. We kind of transferred over. We haven't made it in dairy since.
Okay.
But I think it's the purple color that gets people excited. Something about vibrant colors. People love it.
Yeah.
And it's
like
all from...
Blue Moon. Blue Moon is like, people just go to it and they have no idea even what flavor it is.
They
but
do.
That blue color, like you said, that's something about color.
With the purple, it's just blueberries.
Yeah.
And that's the beautiful thing, is it's not like we're adding coloring from a bottle. We're adding blueberries from Michigan. And the lavender is just balanced right with the coconut, and it's lovely.
Mm-hmm.
So that one is a mainstay flavor. We always have it on hand, and people love it.
Yeah, it's one of my favorites. So
Now, it's not as black as we would want it yet, but once it hardens and kind of collapses just slightly, you don't get as much of that light refraction from the air bubbles. we were making black licorice ice cream, but we decided to make it a little spooky and hide some characters in there.
So now it's ice cream.
Ice cream, get it? Happy Halloween, everybody. So I'm going to test out the black licorice here. Okay. It's lovely. You know, we don't flavor it so hard that you can't taste the dairy in it. You still get a little bit of the lovely dairy notes, but then there's the anise, the touch of molasses, and then like the dark color makes it all worthwhile. But like I said, it's going to get darker over time. So today, especially, we just put all the air bubbles in it, so that's going to bounce the light back, and we're going to see a lot more of the lighter color. Over time, that it'll get darker and much more of a black color. Assistive packing is basically just you get a large scoop and you go in with it. All right, now that first one, you got to kind of bang it out a little bit because you don't want air bubbles in the bottom. Yep. You got to give the people what they deserve, right? A full pint of ice cream.
Yeah, I don't want to hit an air bubble in the bottom.
And then what I do is I take a spatula like that, and then I scrape it.
In.
Yeah. And then you're less messy that way. But I'm not the world's cleanest packer these days. I just don't spend enough time doing it. We get our lids.
Do you weigh it to make sure it's like the right in
No,
every
it's
single?
just by volume.
And you go right up to the top.
Yep. And then you right off the top. Like this. And then when you put this on, you got to make sure that that product all touches the top like that.
Oh man. I like quality control though here, so.
And then
It would take me forever. I would be like such a perfectionist. I would probably. So then you wipe it and then.
yeah, if it's kind of messy, just sort of wipe around the edge.
It is my first time here, so.
That's pretty good for your first.
I'm not fired yet.
And then that goes on top. And kind of press your thumbs in the middle and your fingers on the lift up on the lips of the. There you go. See how I kind of see this? Yeah.
Can I like sign mine or? No, we're just kidding.
So here is our aftermath of our ice cream making, but we have it all packed and in pints. So there's 30 pints here waiting. Maybe one has your name on it, so you should stop down to Love's Ice Cream. Get a pint of black licorice ice cream for Halloween that yours truly, Kari the Mortician, got to help make. So exciting. Thanks everybody. Thanks to Chris here at Love's Ice Cream, and have a good Halloween.